Alright, folks, it's been a minute since I've streamed. Like, a while. Over a week. During a week when I wasn't really in my best mental state. Get on top fucking Twitch chat window. This is starting good. I'm glad my windows are organized properly. That way I can actually see things and be sure that the thing is actually... Oh, I see an issue already. Let me fix that real quick. There we go. You wouldn't have noticed anything, but it was on my end. It was a window ordering thing in OBS. Anyway, yeah, last week I was kind of in a mental state, and this week that has basically been about the same. However, I think I'm feeling a little bit better. Let's go ahead and let's do ourselves a nice little casual stream to get back into the groove of things with a little bit of Risk of Rain 2. I was originally... It is live. Is it working, I guess is the question. Can you see and or hear things? I sure hope you can. It's showing my internet connection working on OBS. So, yes. Can't remember what things look like what. Yeah, Twitch... Did they do something again? I haven't watched a whole lot of Twitch in the past week because, of course, our friend, friend of the channel and of the person, Plastic Allen, is living in Oklahoma and is probably freezing his ass off right now because that's how the weather is. At least he's not in Texas, but I'm pretty sure that he's currently blizzarded and colded out. But, him not living in Texas in that case is almost worse because nobody'll know. And people are being kind of cruel about the Texas thing anyway. At least they were for a couple of days. It seems to have settled down. And people are like, wow, this is actually fucked no matter what. These are real human lives, not chess pieces. But, anyway, let's go ahead and let's get into some single-player action here, because I am the only person who is playing at the moment. I'd have to shake a few trees and get people to be like, hey, do you mind that I stream this while we do it? And goodness knows that I've interrupted this stream enough already. So I have unlocked all of the characters in this game, and I've unlocked all the items. You can see I've unlocked all of the 16 artifacts. I've pretty much unlocked everything except for a couple of logbook notices. Also, there's some stuff going on in the background because the ship is a little bit of a bumpy ride. And I think... You know what? Today, let's go ahead and let us get out a nice old mixed character here with the multi. We're using the power saw and the rebar puncher. I think that's a pretty good combination here. The saw is going to do a bunch of melee damage. The rebar puncher so we can have a long range out. Actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going to try out the scrap launcher here. This is sort of a mini rocket launcher. We don't usually need to fire that many ranged shots, but I think it fires faster than the rebar, which is basically a sniper rifle. So we should be good to go with that. Anyway, Bronco, since you said that you were interested in purchasing this game and you thought about it, I would 100% recommend it. It is a fantastic game. It's a pretty good deal at 20 bucks. And honestly, I'm kind of feeling a little bit like, and this is a serious rarity for a 3D conversion, if you will, of a 2D game, that this is actually kind of better than the original. Usually when a game makes the 3D leap, it tends to be a little bit on the chunky side, but I think a lot of that is just because it was the mid-90s when a lot of that stuff happened, and that was very much a time when that kind of stuff was still finding its footing. Nowadays, people knows, yeah, okay, Nowadays, people know how to make those kind of games and make them good, so there's a lot less of the bad, basically. Yeah. So, yes, the thing with the big freeze out in Texas, I'm not 100% sure what the technical term to call there is, because, yeah, I think it definitely qualifies as a blizzard, but there's a lot more to worry about than snow in this case, because, you know, everybody's water is freezing, and there's power failures and all of this for a wide variety of reasons. It has been really, really horrible to watch a lot of the goings on. I have a lot of friends in Texas, and like generally through parts of the US that go a little more southward just in general. It turns out that people actually live in those places. Who would have known? Also, I gotta remember that I should just pick up items as soon as I see them, because I'm playing this single player. I am not used to that anymore. And basically a lot of people were, at least in the very earliest days, being incredibly vile about the whole thing. 9 degrees, yeah, that's pretty yikes. I'm trying to see how fast I can do in my head a conversion for metric people for anyone in my stream who happens to be not in the US. It would be negative something or other there. 3 times. I can't do that very fast. It ain't nice. We'll put it that way. Negative 20? I think it's not quite that extreme, but it's definitely not pretty. We'll put it that way. And basically we'll just say, yeah, be lucky if you're, you know, not dealing with that, because wow. And yeah, so that's been a huge mess, basically, and I'm just hoping that it gets things improve soon. Of course, now one of the big energy companies over there is basically using this as a way to jack up prices under people while they are, you know, in very dire straits, and that's a problem too, though something should happen to those people, but there's not really anything in place for that, so basically, Anyway, I haven't really been explaining a whole lot of what's going on over here. Kind of assuming that people know a little bit about Risk of Rain 2 at this point, but I can loop back around to that in a moment. We're going to take this gasoline. You're in PA, all right. I did not remember where you were at, so gotcha. It is reasonably cold out here too in Illinois, and it is very, very hard to like get a good look at what's going on outside the window because there's a lot of snow on the ground, and of course that causes like vision issues for reasons. I don't go outside very much though, so I'm probably okay. We'll put it that way. God, yeah, shipping costs are... Well, on top of that, on top of everything else with the shipping costs, is that the U.S. Postal Service has been, well, being sabotaged, really. The then current Postmaster General Louis DeJoy during the run up to the election, which, you know, I'm sure that everybody remembers that whole thing. Because, of course, they were trying to screw people who were voting by mail-in because they were literally trying to rig the election in their favor. So they were like, hey, let's look for demographics of voters that are usually liberal, and let's go, oh, I know, mail-in voters. So on top of everything else that they've also been trying to gut the Postal Service basically forever in order to support private shipping companies like FedEx and stuff like that. So it kind of all came together as one, and it is incredibly not a good time for that to be a thing that's happening. And yes, don't do what I just tried to do in this game, by the way. I just tried to buzzsaw an energy ball. That is a good way to get it to explode on you. But basically, yes, over in Game World here, we ended up with the worst first boss possible. Thankfully, all of our rockets reload at once. I shouldn't be playing a melee class solo, basically. I should probably have taken the nail gun, which is the other hand option that the multi can have. I almost called him the handy. No, that's from Risk of Rain 1. So yeah, the post office has been getting absolutely just hammered by a variety of things during a pandemic when everybody wants to get everything via mail and the prices of everything is just going up, and obviously people are making less money too, so that's like 10 issues all in one. It's the way this is hashed out has genuinely been some of the worst shit that I've ever even conceived of. And I'm not talking about the game, even though this is pretty awful. What bad luck! Some hockey bullshit, indeed. Speaking of that turn of phrase, anyone else in here following Brysolf or in Brysolf's Discord, did you get to see that Super Smash TV tournament trailer today made by Molderman? That is absolutely a fantastic bit of fun there. I don't even play that game, but I'm considering like actually picking it up and be like, hey, can I not suck at this? You know, surely I can get at least above the bottom of the leaderboard, but I digress. Starwind gets picked on enough outside of this stream. Do we need to bring it here? The answer to some people will definitely be yes, but I digress. Once more, I digress quite a bit, apparently. It's a bit of a hobby. That posted on... It should be in the Super Smash TV channel. So that is definitely, that's definitely a thing that you should check out because it's a lot of fun. And, you know, Molderman is generally a very entertaining fellow with his video editing. That was one of his. But he told Brian to upload it on his channel, not on Molderman's channel, because obviously it's announcing Brian's tournament. Not a problem. Are we almost done with this? Okay, good. We've almost killed the giant jellyfish. I'm keeping my distance because if you saw it doing that charge up thing, the explosion that comes out of that is ridiculously strong, and we're at dead. Wow, okay. Thanks, game. those stone golems' laser beams are very, very strong and very accurate, and they knock you back quite a bit, but we didn't really get to... We didn't get a good look at that part of things there. So instead, I'm going to switch characters to the Rex, who is generally kind of considered one of the worst characters in the game, but I can usually do some interesting stuff with Rex in terms of combos. Do we want to keep that? We hit heals for every target hit. Okay, so that's a good thing there. All right, so we're going to keep our raining attack here, the drill. Oh, Among Us with the Bryself Discord is fantastic, by the way, and that's a thing that one day I probably should just like actually record a couple of those, because they have been a lot of fun and we've been incredibly goofy during quite a few of them. So that's been just a great time in general. So the Rex here is an interesting character that does a lot of health modulation. Basically, you can pay a lot of your health to do certain big attacks, and you will usually heal for them. It's high risk, but pretty high reward. Yeah, I would not really be able to take Among Us if people were being a little too serious about it. It's not really a game for that kind of thing. Then again, also all games are supposed to be fun, so there's that part as well. But I guess there's always got to be at least one or two people in every crowd who take every game a little too seriously. For some reason. Some things just don't change, you know? This game, yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to put it. You've got a lot of stuff that can go on. There's a lot to pay attention to as well. But thankfully, there's just a lot of content in general. It is a lot of fun. Very dynamic is a good way to wrap all of it up, I think, as a description. Like, I feel like this is definitely one of the faster paced of the 3D games that I've played out there that actually works inside of that. Because another good thing is that these controls are very good. Yeah, that's a really useful description. They're very agile, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. They don't feel too heavy, which I think is just a general complaint that I've had with a lot of 3D games, is that, again, a lot of that goes back to the late 90s sort of style of things. That era, games were generally just kind of heavy on the controls, because, again, those companies still just finding their feet, and that is really garbage of a thing for me to get a game. That item, when you take damage, you lose money, but when you deal damage, you gain money back. Unfortunately, that's a bit of an issue when I'm playing a class that has a lot of skills that deal self-damage and can recover HP and do status effects through that. Because when you self-damage, that counts, and you still lose money, and you will basically just become penniless constantly. Or have to not use any of your skills until you complete the entire map's purchases. And that's not great. Ooh, Challenge of the Mountain. Hopefully we don't get double jellyfish, is all I can say, because, ooh. At the very least, we have range, and we have good range, too, so that would be a lot easier. It would still suck. What's going on in this shop? Ooh, medkit. Yes, that is a staple for this character. One of the very few instances of one of these being actually good. So the medkit sounds like a good deal because you get healed every time you take damage, and it's a reasonable chunk of healing for a single item, right? Unfortunately, the problem is that it takes so long to actually kick in properly that you can get into a position where you can just get dogpiled late on by a bunch of things and start losing out on your healing because they'll just refresh the... It will not add to the amount of healing that you get in terms of regen. It just refreshes to the timer length. However, since this character does damage to itself and likes to stay away from things a lot, you can basically get a bunch of your health back from using your skills. And stacking a lot of medkits can basically reduce the cost of a lot of your abilities quite heavily. And that is not something I will complain about, because that would be a very strange thing to complain about. Alright, before we hit the teleporter, which is over in the middle of the stage, basically, nice and out in the open, which is another thing that we had an issue with last time, is that that jellyfish was just right inside of that tunnel, and that wasn't great. Anyway, we're taking a look for the Newt altar. There's a scrapper over there if we decide that we don't like our items for any reason, but I feel like the items that I've gathered so far are pretty okay. Like, they're not the best or anything, except that the critical hit glasses are nice. The extra 10% chance of crit is very good, even though you can see that since our attack is 3 separate hits, each one rolls crits separately, so a crit isn't that strong on it. Still, any chance for a little extra damage is not really that bad. And plus, it being 3 individual hits is basically like, hey, you get more chances to get that bonus damage. You had a couple of... Oh, I whiffed pretty hard there. Apparently, I missed this enemy that was just right in my face. That's a problem. That's a very strange hitbox, I guess, that it's a little bit in front of you. I never really realized that, I don't think. So, let's see if we can't get onto here real quick. Just barely. Ooh, but that will do. I think that means we don't have to do any more, oh no, never mind. We have to do one more backflip. Oh, that's some interesting, little texturing going on there as I get a little closer to the areas, and it's just like, oh hey, there's these little dark areas underneath it. That is some funky graphics loading. Alright, blue orb appears. There we go. We can go to the shop between maps, and that's going to be pretty helpful, because I would like to see some better items in the blue category. Like that brittle crown that we passed up, but not that item, basically. Because that one's not very good for this character, as I've made quite clear already. Alright. Alright, show me not garbage. Stone Titans. Okay, that is perfectly fine. That was a surprisingly harmless fist there. That was, being frozen sucks. There is something that I didn't really get a chance to see with the ice enemies, is that if you get frozen and you take damage while your health is below a certain point, you will shatter and die. Alright. Oh, I see a goodie there. Oh, that is nice. That is a nice set of drops. We've got the Titanic Neural that gives us a little bit of base health and a little bit of regeneration. I think like a flat 40 health or something. I didn't notice. Either way, not a huge amount, but it's nice little well-rounded bit of stats all over. And this is one of the relatively few games where getting a well-rounded set of stats can actually be quite useful. Usually you like to specialize in the game, and we get the Will-o'-the-Wisp. Every time we kill an enemy, the enemy explodes. Which is going to help us out quite significantly in large groups of small enemies like those wisps. And that is a marked change from the original Risk of Rain, that the Will-o'-the-Wisp in that game had only a 10% chance of making the enemy explode, no matter what. Like, you could stack any number of them, and it's like, oh, always 10%. In this game, it is guaranteed. Granted, I think the explosion is smaller and not as strong, but I will take it being a guaranteed effect and not having to bank on any luck. Also, because we killed an enemy like right as we were portaling out, we managed to come in here with a little bit of cash, but we don't need that because this shop does not deal in regular gold, it deals in those blue coins. Right, let's take a look at our items. We've got a Strides of Heresy, which will replace our move on the shift button, which is that, with an ability that causes us to enter the Shadow Realm for a few seconds. And if we stack them, the move gets longer, but since its cooldown only goes down when we're in the real world, that's a bit of a double-edged sword, which is the big thing with these blue items, is that they're trade-offs. So we're not going to take that, because I actually like my Sonic Boom a little too much. This we're going to pick up, though, the Beads of Fealty. It doesn't do anything. Unless we go to a very specific map, then we get to fight a bonus boss. But otherwise, it's pretty much just going to be bait for something very specific a little later on. This, I forget what this is called. I'll buy it just to look at it. Look at the name. Focus Convergence. Okay, I thought it was Forced something. That shrinks down the teleporter area, which we have to stay in during the teleporter event in order to move the clock forward on that. And we have to complete a timer, pardon the knuckle cracking, to actually move on to the next level. However, I feel like the trade-off is not quite that big with it. Like, you spend a lot of area in order to get not so much of a timer speed up. This item over here is Visions of Heresy. This replaces our left-click attack, which is going to be our basic shot, with a homing shot that deals 2 instances of damage that has 12 charges each and has a cooldown. When we run out of, when we stop firing, it takes like 2 seconds and restores all of our shots for it. If we stack more, we get an additional 12 shots, but we also lengthen the cooldown. Again, I think this is too good, and that would take away the healing that this provides, and I believe the status effect as well. And Brittle Crown, we've already discussed that. It's garbage, it's not good on like anybody, and this character least of all. Over here, we can choose our next level, and I'm going to buy this desert level, because it is much easier for me to get around in general. I know where things are there. And over here, these are called just cauldrons. Okay. So these will let us reforge X amount of items in the previous tier, i.e. 3 white items into a green here, and 5 green items into a red here, which obviously we don't have enough for that, and Wake of Vultures is kind of middle of the road anyway. It's a sweetener. I would not really take that trade. I will take the Razor Wire trade, however. And we lost our med kit, which is a shame, but we did keep probably our 2 best items. We kept our Lensmaker's Glasses, which is our 10% crits, and we kept our energy drink, which is increased speed when we are dashing. So Razor Wire, whenever we take damage, we shoot little blades out, as you saw right there, hopefully. That counts self-damage as well. That is very good for this character because we will be hurting ourselves quite a bit. It's just the way it goes. Also, we can do damage to this guy, and eventually he will get mad at us. Eventually the big lizard is going to be like, get the fuck out of my store. However, our DPS is terrible right now, so we can't even upset that fella whatsoever. There is not the slightest bit of rage going on there, so we're just gonna walk out, and we're going to get ourselves to level 2. Amazing, there is actually a level 2 in this game. You can tell that I'm quite rusty, but I still remember the basics of how the game works. It's just whether or not that actually will hash out into any sort of talent while playing, that's a good question. We've got a lot of these Shrines of Chance, by the way, which is what those things are. You pay money for a chance to get an item to pop out of it. They start off cheaper than chests, but quickly grow in price. And basically, they are not really the first thing you want to spend money on, despite the fact that they will be the first thing you can afford in a level. Unless you are playing as the Captain, who I will no doubt take a couple of runs at, because I love me some Captain. The Captain is definitely one of the funner characters in the game, and them locking the Captain behind beating the very hard final boss is completely justified because the Captain is really fun and also is probably the best support character in the entire game. Also, one neat thing about the Rex's big tangling trap here is that when enemies die in it, you still drain life from them, despite the fact they have no life for you to steal, and you continue to heal from it. So overall, although the Rex looks like a really hard character to play, it's not that bad, really. It's not that big of a challenge. Although it will definitely take a few runs to get used to like how much health you can spend and what level of risks you should be taking. Which means that it's the perfect character for me to be playing on my like second run back in a few months. I think it's been a couple of months. Actually, no, I played with Mark sometime earlier this year, I think. And I think he did better at the game than I did, so, again, I'll tell you that I'm still quite rusty. Alright, let's pop this open. Those orange tubes will always contain equipment, which are usable items, like this eccentric vase, which does this. Useful for getting into hard-to-reach places, however, the Rex has pretty good mobility once you learn how to properly do backflips and stuff, so this item is not terribly useful. So we got, we got the dud, right? We got the Millhouse. Alright, so we've got an interesting conundrum here in terms of this shop. We've got a key, which will give us a chance to find a lockbox in a stage, which actually this is a lot less trouble than I think it is, but the other item is Bustling Fungus, which is very useful if you stand still. However, we tend to move around a lot as Rex. I know a lot of people will play Rex as kind of a sniper character that just sits on a rock and just volleys enemies with. Usually with the other right-click move, which is, well, called Seed Volley, that projects an arcing shot at an enemy at the cost of health, but has an extremely low cooldown. However, I don't really like that style very much, and the raining attack is useful with certain other items, just in general, that are much more my playstyle. So, yeah. That ended up being much easier than I was making it sound at first. Alright, so I screwed that up. I thought I was going to get airtime off of that, but I did not get any airtime off of it. So I think our Newt altar is going to be inside of this skeleton skull, because it usually always is. I don't think I've ever seen this map generate without having a Newt altar up here, although usually there's also one in that back area on one of the side ledges up on the wall. And that saved us from a lot of fall damage, actually, so that was interesting. I spent health to not take fall damage. I'm pretty sure the fall damage would have been more, so yeah. Oh good, I'm on fire. Everybody's favorite state to be in, on fire. Oh wait, no, the other thing. No. Pop this chest open. What do we got? Oh, look, there's fungus anyway. Yeah, standing still for 2 seconds. We'll do that here so you can get a look at it. The odds are kind of not zero that I will find a scrapper and shove this into it. Or rather that I will shove that into it if I find a scrapper. But we'll just have to see how that pans out in the long run. Because again, not a super useful item for me. Let's shove a couple of coins in here, and yeah, that's 2 and it's already not giving me anything. Shrines of Chance really suck. They are just kind of rude. I've seen some people get really good items out of them, and I'm just like, how? How do you pull that off? And a Cautious Slug. That is not very powerful. It's useful and all, but not powerful. This, on the other hand, oh, buddy. So that lets us stack charges of our skill. It doesn't affect the cooldown whatsoever, but in that case, that is giving us more of those raining attacks. So one thing that I like to do with this character, if I am given the option to, is I will stack a bunch of those and just use them to boss really effectively. Like, you come up to the teleporter and you just rain a bunch of death on whatever spawns out of it, and, you know, you get to the next level pretty easily. Fresh meat, that's a decent enough item, I guess. It's regen on a character that needs it, so... Alright. Hey, is that going to be a better use item? Yes, the Prion Accumulator. It's a big ol' ion cannon. I'll show it off when we fight the boss. As soon as I figure out where the teleporter went. Stun grenade, yes. Yes. Oh, 2 fresh meats. Alright. That's more than I need because that doesn't increase the regen time. It just... no, it makes you regen for longer. It doesn't increase the regen rate, pardon me. And I think we've gotten all the chests, so I'm going to go back and find that Shrine of Chance that we completely failed at twice a moment ago. And feed it some more money. And then we're going to go find the teleporter again and leave, because I've been in this level for like 10 minutes. I'm taking this very slowly. Hey, a crowbar. So I think the crowbar bonus damage only procs on enemies that are at full health. So that's not exactly ideal for us, but it will do a lot with the Prion Accumulator because it's a very, very large boost. And that the Prion Accumulator already does a lot of damage to begin with. So Yeah, it definitely is a nice little combination there. Not as good as some use item combinations, but, you know, who knows if we'll see those. Because we're not playing this with the command artifact or anything, although maybe I will later. I don't know yet. That was foolish of me, but it got rid of the beetle, so... Okay. Alright, teleporter's gotta be over on this side, right? I feel like I haven't seen it the entire map, and that is incredibly strange for this map, because things are very out in the open. I usually would see at least the particle effects from it very quickly. Okay, it's over there. It's in the riverbed that's encircling the level. Is that a chest that I missed? It sure is. 85 bucks, give me a damage item. Soldier syringe. Hey, attack rate up. That's always good. Especially because this game is very big on boosting up your multi-hits and stuff. And you will want a large rate of fire. And we just get a Beetle Queen as our boss here. Which is a very, very easy to deal with enemy. And it definitely does not hurt that we had that going for us. That Prion Accumulator did like 2/3 of our health. It might have done even more if I used it just right off the bat. But I think she also took some damage from my Razor Wire. So that was a little hard to control in that regard. The Wax Quail is not a tremendously useful item, by the way, but you can get some very interesting movement going on. If you're dashing while you jump, you get a bit of a push forward. It can be used to dodge some attacks, but overall it is way underpowered for being a green tier item. And this level is just about done. We are almost out of here. We just gotta sit around dealing with these trash mobs a little more. Let's clean them up real quick. It's not necessary to in this game the way it was in Risk of Rain 1, but it doesn't hurt to grab a little more experience. Oh hey, I think we managed to kill that wisp as we poured it out. Not quite. It just looked like it. If we had, you would see that we'd have a little bit of cash. Excuse me. Alright, so let's pick up our beads. And we've got another Visions of Heresy. We have 2 Transcendence, which turns our health meter into shields. Which is a bit of a problem because our health cost will still just come out of our shields. And shields are unique in that you cannot heal them, and it takes a few seconds for them to start regenerating. So that's not really good for this character. It can be used in certain builds, but not this one. And the Corpse Bloom here, this doubles our healing, but it makes it go slower. So I would prefer not to. Newt, you have disappointed me once again. Let's see if we can make you upset yet. You know what, let's pull out the Prion, because we're not going to need that for a little bit into the level. And yeah, that's what happens. If you do enough damage to the Newt gets pissed and you get thrown out. It's amusing. And here we are at Rally Point Delta. This is our ice level. Thankfully, there's no ice physics to deal with, but we also, this is another level that I'm really good at navigating because it's very, very simple, just regular ground and stuff. Also the buffalo can't charge us while they're trapped in the plant tangle thing. which is nice. It gives us a good way to deal with them because they are all over this level and they hurt a lot. Oh, you're an ice lizard. Get out of here. And I know you're thinking, hey, ice level, what do you expect? Well, I don't, because elite buffs are completely random. Alright, our shop over here is 2 armor plates and a stun grenade. I don't really feel like I need a stun grenade because those don't raise the chances of getting a stun very much, and they don't raise the time for the stun, so we'll take the armor plate. We could use more defense. And this shop has the goods. This has the tri-tip dagger, which gives our attacks a chance to cause bleeding on hit, which is going to be very nice. You know, we get some more dots. Now that old "more dots" meme from World of Warcraft or something. Yeah, it was World of Warcraft. God, that is so old. Then again, it's a World of Warcraft thing. They're, you know, World of Warcraft has been around forever. I mean, wow. Also, shoutouts to our bandolier here. It is dropping those little ammo boxes that will refresh our skills on use. So we can do fun stuff like setting up multiple of those plant traps for a good chunk of damage to enemies over time. Is our Newt altar out here? Yes. Usually the Newt altar is over here on the corner of the shore where it is very, very easy to find. It's either over here or it's over the corner of the rocks, which I'll point out in a second once I get back over there. Or it's way up on a cliffside that is a complete pain in the ass to get to. Alright, come here, Buffalo. There we go. Alright, shop. What's in the shop? What's in the shop? We've got glasses, fungus, and a sticky bomb. I'll take the glasses. Of course I will. Getting that 30% chance of crit so far. The glasses are just additive in terms of their crit effect. It's not a multiplier. So yes, you can get to a point where all of your attacks will be critical hits, and that is a great place to be in. Especially once you start getting the other items that give you certain boosts with critical hits. That's always a nice little bonus. So yes, this is where the Newt altar is if it's not on the shore. At least 90% of the time. Sometimes you'll get neither of those positions and it'll be up on those cliff faces. No, that's not even a good angle to show it. So if you can see that shipping container up there, yeah, the Newt altar will often spawn up there as, like, kind of the guaranteed location, I guess. However, it usually spawns in the other places too, so at least there's that. But if not, you have to climb up there, and it's a bit of a tricky thing for most classes. Let's feed this some money. Give me some items. Oh good, you gave me a war banner. I don't need 3 of these. 1 is all you need, really. Okay, so that gnarled wood sprite is something I will come back for later. That gives us a regeneration bonus. Actually, I probably won't come back for that later. Never mind, because the damage from the laser cannon is going to be very, very good for us for a little bit. But the gnarled wood sprite gives us some bonus regen, and we can use it to target an ally and send them the regen bonus. But of course, that's not going to be very useful for us right now, with nobody else in the game. However, you can use it without a target, and if you have something that activates when you use a use item, it will still activate that, that's always good. That's good for if you're building a Warhorn centric build, because it also has a very short cooldown. So again, with the Warhorn, that's a very good way to keep the massive attack speed bonus that item gives you up while you're, just out in the world. Again, maybe we'll see that later, but who knows. The fact that this is all based on luck is, it sometimes means that my explaining things isn't really very useful, because you won't see it, and I won't necessarily know if you play the game. Unless you tell me. Ooh, teddy bear. Yes, that gives us a chance to not take damage when we get hit. That's very helpful. Hey, come on. There we go. And we get some repulsion plating. Again, flat damage reduction, so it doesn't scale very well, but it is what could generously be called free real estate. And that would be very generous at those prices, because, wow. Alright, give me the question mark. Topaz Brooch. Nice. That basically gives us some temporary health when we land a kill. So, not going to complain about that. I generally like the way that the barrier meter works in this game, where it just sort of degrades over time, and as opposed to being like, oh, here's a timer, and you just lose all of it in one block. Which, to be fair, I feel like probably a lot of games that use this sort of mechanic would do something like that, but, what if they don't, I guess? What did we get recently? Oh, this is another crit glasses? I think it was. That's pretty good. Yeah, we're up to 40% chance of landing crits. Or 40% bonus. I think we get an innate 1%. So, again, coming along nicely. Alright, here's our large chest. This is a guaranteed green or better. Unfortunately, it's just a green, and unfortunately, it's not a terribly great one. It's a Lepton Daisy. So, the Lepton Daisy's heal is very strong, but the healing effect only happens during the teleporter, and they are spaced out evenly according to the number of Lepton Daisies you have. So, we get one at 50% of the teleport charging. And that's it, per level. If we're down that low at 50%, it's good, I suppose, but it's hard to say if that's going to be the case, because we could end up with something like a magma worm that might not even get here by 50% because they take a path almost of most resistance just by virtue of their movement pattern. Not even because they path badly or anything. Alright. Hit it! Oh, one of our turrets broke. Clay Doomstriders. That's not terribly fun. Is it just the one? Sure seems like just the one. Alright, so they do... Oh no, there's two. They do things, as you can tell. God, we're getting sucked on here, and we're also getting shot at. That phase of the fight is not really that good. That part is kind of annoying because You can also see they have a massive defensive bonus during that period when they're sucking on you. On the other hand, they are sitting ducks, but they just don't take any damage. And those clay balls, the clay Dune Strider used to be hilariously ineffectual when the game was first in early access, but I think they've buffed them a little too much. They are just deadly with their clay ball aim. And also, now that every boss has a unique yellow item drop, they have the worst one in the game if you're playing on a team, because they basically give you that sucking effect when you're taking damage. So if you start losing health, you'll start draining health from your teammates, because I don't think I quite managed to show it off, but the Dune Striders, when they start draining things, they steal their health, and they will drain enemies as well. So really, the effect just completely mimics... Ow, my eyes. That is a very, very bright light. And I'm sorry for those of you who are also photosensitive, because, wow, that hurt me. And I feel like I don't have any issues with that kind of stuff, usually. Anyway, yeah, fuck the Dune Striders. And let's see what this dude has in store. We've got one of these. We've got a Focus Convergence, a Transcendence. We've got what look like good levels over there. We've got the Brittle Effigy, which is a huge pain to use. Brittle Effigy is not what it's called. I don't remember what it... Effigy of Grief, right. You drop it, and it produces an area where enemies are just... where enemies and allies, rather, are just generally weakened for the duration of... while it's on the floor. Alright, so we'll take that level, which I haven't seen in a while. And we have the Mercurial Raucous, which produces a little spinal cord thing every once in a while that creates an area where anything that attacks from there deals more damage. Which, okay, cool. That's a good way to get yourself killed most of the time, because you'll usually just end up with an enemy who will be sitting in there and sniping at you. It'll be something like the Vultures, which we'll see in this level. Siren's Call. This is the level you really want to see at Layer 4. However, they added a third level recently, which is like some kind of fungus forest thing, which causes a problem for... Ooh, Pete's Candy. For when you go to buy levels at the shop, because that gives you a much higher chance of not getting this. And you'll see in a moment why this level is so great. Unfortunately, the enemy spawns that we're getting here are not, you know, not nice at all. We've got, well, I was going to say, we got about to die, and we just did. Never mind, I guess I won't get to show you, because the stupid Godzilla showed up with the electric boost, and that elite bonus does so much extra damage and makes these enemies so much fatter that they're just kind of the worst. Wow. I'm so glad that at least it didn't spawn behind me and then insta-kill me with a shotgun volley. Because you saw that they were doing like a spread of fireballs. They spawn in pretty much silently unless you have your audio all the way up, in which case your ears will get split because the game can get really loud. And, you know, they'll just sometimes spawn in right behind you and do something like that, and you'll die because one hit protection won't work when you're getting hit by 5 attacks at once. It's frankly quite awful. And in a second, we're going to have a look at this thing. And we're going to have a look at the captain here. Who is, like, probably my favorite character in the game at this point. So, yeah, I'm just taking a moment here because I'm a little annoyed, really. See if anything is going on. Alright. So, the captain. The captain has some customizable skills where... There we go. Gotta select the proper window here. Alright, well, we'll look at the skill customization in just a moment here after we take a look at the captain's general skills here. For a start, the captain is one of the fairly few classes in the game to have a passive ability, and by fairly few, I think I mean now that like half of them do. See, the commando doesn't get one, huntress doesn't get one. The multi doesn't really, nor is the engineer. The artificer has the jetpack. Mercenary, double jump. You have a status effect, and so does the acrid. The loader. Yeah, so I guess more than half of characters in this game have passives now. So I was completely wrong when I said that earlier. Anyway, the defensive microbots gives us an item to start with that can shoot down enemy projectiles, and that is also given to all of our drones and turrets. It is a very strong defensive tool. It is very good in team games. It's great if you can get a bunch of drones together. And it is just generally very, very good in general. Yes. And then we've got this shotgun that we can charge up to tighten the spread. Deals pretty good damage if we land all the shots, and honestly, even if not, it can still be pretty useful. And then there's the taser, which is completely not very, almost useless, really. The stun effect I don't find is all that strong, and it does very little damage. And okay, it can bounce around a little bit, but usually it's not going to be that powerful. The orbital probe attack does a ton of damage instead, and it's a little hard to aim because they take a second to hit, and it requires a bit of target leading. And it does mean that the captain has no mobility-based technique. Still, it's one of your strongest damaging moves. You can see 1,000% damage per hit. That's pretty solid. Excuse me. And the orbital supply beacon is the last one. That provides various buffs when they drop. You get 2 per stage. And in our loadout, we can choose which 2 we get. I usually carry 2 of the hacking beacon, which hack all nearby purchasables to cost $0. That is very nice. It makes Shrines of Chance completely free. It breaks into chests. It gives us drones, even the more expensive ones. You don't want to use it on shops, though. It can cause some issues. The other ones we get are a healing beacon, which provides regen in an area, 10% of max health per second. Pretty decent. That's a very nice little thing, but it does mean that you end up relegating your fights to a fairly tight area a lot of the time in later levels. I'd rather have the ability to, advance faster, basically. Not have to worry about that. Shocking. This can stun enemies in an area. This, again, can be pretty powerful if you can just guide all of the enemies over there. Unfortunately, there isn't a true tank class in this game that has, hate manipulation or anything. I guess the closest is that you get the shove from the Rex. And then we get a resupply, which can be used probably only once per level to reset the cooldown on your equipment. So, not that amazing, but I guess it's nice. Also, this costume doesn't look very good. Sorry. We're sticking to the classic here. Let's do this. And let me not knock my mic over too hard. So we're not going to buy any... Well, okay, so this is a good setup for us to drop a hack beacon right here and grab 2 chests at once, one of which is a large. which costs a decent amount of money. Alright, we got a slab of meat here, and we're going to hopefully get something better out of this. Double jump. Alright, that's nice. The Hope Feather gives us a nice little bit of double jump in here. That is a huge mobility boost, which is great because the captain otherwise is a little hamstrung in that department. So yeah, we're going to avoid using any of the shops using any of the chests rather for the moment. We're going to try not to buy anything until we get a decent image of what's going on in the level to see what is useful for us to hack. We're hoping for some Shrines of Chance because those are a free 2 items and we just have to mash the button to get them out of the thing. Also, yeah, by the way, the double jump can be used to really break some levels and just let you navigate around terrain that you really should not be able to. Basically, any of the mobility skills, you can do stuff like this. But of course, with the captain, we have to rely on just having our double jumps. I have to assume that this was fully intentional because nothing has ever been done about it in terms of like patching anything. And this game has been at least in early access for like 2 years. I mean, it's out now. It came out back in August, I think, officially, but also it's been around for quite a while in some form or fashion. So we'll buy that drone, I guess, just like right off to get a little bit of extra defense on our side. And the hell with it, we'll buy a chest. There we go. Yeah, because now the enemies are starting to scale up and we could really use a little bit of extras on our hands here. However, it's starting to look like we found the only really ideal place to even bother with a hacking drone in this entire level. Because everything else just seems to be regular single chests just spread out too evenly for us to get doubles. Yeah, there we go. There's a shop. So, shops don't interact very well with the hacking beacons. If you throw it at a shop, it will just try and get one random item out of it. Like, whatever it targeted first, I suppose. So... And then it becomes disabled because a shop, you can only purchase one item out of it. So that is... You just want to avoid using these on shops, the hackers. So, yeah, just buy those with regular money. Don't even bother trying to get fancy. You'll just get disappointed. Oh wow, nice miss, and also I think all the rest of my shots got consumed or something, or they sort of all warped into one almost. Alright, so... turret. That might be like the most expensive thing that's still on the map, so we'll go ahead and we'll give that a hack. And it should come online to cover our rear once we... Yeah, there you go. Let's see, it just popped on. We got the little sound notification. Alright. Hey, teddy bear. Very nice. Well, I guess we're not touching any of the 3D printers, which, by the way, for those of you who are not well-versed in this game whatsoever, the 3D printers consume one of your items and will transform it into the item that is displayed on the machine. So, for example, that would turn one of our randomly selected white tier items and turn it into fresh meat, which is not very useful compared to like anything else we have already. Plus, we already have one. I mean, we don't need more than that. As I said, they're not that strong, and it just lengthens how long it takes you to regenerate all the health from it. Instead of it being designed in a useful manner. Right. Beetle Queen. Also, you're definitely seeing there that I was stacking a good number of bleed effects. The bleed dagger is very good on the commando. It's very good on the commando, yes, but it's very good on the captain because although his little basic shotgun shot here has a reduced proc chance per hit, it fires 8 shots, so you have a good chance of getting some bleed going when you hit an enemy. And the Queen's Gland has given us a Beetle Guard as an ally. Unfortunately, the Beetle Guard does not get a drone of its own, I don't think. It doesn't get the nanobots. So that's kind of a shame, and also their AI is usually not very smart. They have good power early on, but otherwise they end up just spending most of the time being target practice for the enemies. And see, there's an instance of the taser actually being useful, because I had a single target that I could use it on very quickly while dealing with everything else. In the form of that big golem that we did not want in our shit. So we managed to stun it, and we dealt with the rest of the enemies. And yeah. Alright, so here is the other stage 2, the wetland aspect. This one is much harder to find things in. And also, there are a couple of Newt Altar locations that are very, very hard to get to early on. Unless you get very good, very specific rolls. Excuse me. Or unless you're playing the Artificer and you take the high jump ability instead of your flamethrower, which absolutely murders your ability to damage things. Like, it hamstrings you pretty bad. So it's really only recommended if you are playing in a group in order for you to be a support. Alright, we don't have enough money for this chest yet. Alright, we found the exit. Unfortunately, if I ping it, that ping will not last long enough for me to actually really remember it. So that's unfortunate. But we do have one of these right next to it. So that's good. Alright, our shops, we've got one with 2 question marks and a shield generator. That's probably going to be a question mark. I'll take a look at the 3-item shop in a second. After we're done here, medkit, meh. We're not playing that one class, so it's not really a big deal. And another fresh meat. We are just finding so many of these all over the place lately. Get out of my way. Alright. So, over here, we've got the armor-piercing rounds, which deals increased damage to boss enemies if they have a health meter visible on the HUD. Not just over their heads. And we have the Focus Crystal, which deals increased damage to nearby enemies when we damage things. So, that's alright, but I do want the bullets here. Because the extra damage to bosses can really pile up. Okay, we've got a teddy bear. I'm going to take the key. And we're going to grab a question mark over here. I'll actually pop the chest as well, because I saw more expensive items elsewhere on the map already. And we get a bandolier. That is of minimal use to us due to the fact that we don't have a ton of skills that are super high cooldown. I mean, it'll refresh our orbital strikes. So I guess at least there's that. And here we go. Here's another one of these. Alright. Another one of those. That's good. And a cautious slug. Alright. That is not very helpful, but okay, game. I guess, yeah, not everything can always be good, right? Okay, so there's a large chest. Let's go crack that open and see if we can get ourselves some good items here. Oh, it's red? Oh, it's a desk plant. Fuck you, game. So, basically, that produces little bustling fungus areas when you kill an enemy. Which, again, a little bit of free real estate, but it is so small and so marginal compared to, like, every other red item that I just kind of look at it and, you know, it's a sweetener. I mean, I guess it's useful, but I don't really care that much about it unless I have a very specific use item that lets me, oh, fuck right off. Yeah, see, there's a reason to absolutely hate the taser, because sometimes its hit detection is just too small. And you'll try to stun a small enemy that has a lot of HP in order to, like, be able to kill it more easily. And the game will just be like, nah, don't feel like it. And you'll be sitting there with your pants down. Because not only that, you'll miss your combo that you started up with your aerial strikes. And you will just feel like the biggest idiot that ever could be. And also, of course, because the orbital nanobots count as a red item, if you try to use a red tier 3D printer, in the very rare instances that they show up, there's a chance that you will lose those, and you will just lose all of, or almost all at least, of your utility. You will just suddenly realize, oh hey, there's no reason for me to have these drones anymore because they don't give buffs. They have only marginal healing and even more marginal damage. At best, they become target practice. And that's just not a great state of affairs. Okay, so I think there's only 3 possible locations for the Newt altar on this map. And it has got to be up there, right? Because I don't see it on these pillars. Which I think is the place where it usually would spawn, is over here. Right, because I know that it can spawn on the pillars. See, it's not over there, because it's on a nice, nice plain vertical one. I also don't see it over there. Did I just get a map with no fucking altar? There's no jump pad to get up to the altar here. Yeah, this map really is not very good. I don't like this map in general, but especially when they give us such trash rolls for the Newt altar, and the fact that this map had the audacity to give me a desk plant as a red. I suppose it could be worse. That Siren's Call map has a mini-boss that we can fight. A mini-boss that's actually pretty tough most of the time, if we're not geared to deal that kind of damage. That will, yeah, it will give us a red item if we kill it. So we could go through the effort of that thing and get the desk plant, and that would just make me even sadder. But otherwise, this desk plant is just like, it's useless unless I get a certain other item relatively... Well, again, useless is a strong word, but it's not very good. We'll put it that way. And we get this fucker. Okay, good, great. Effing great. Just great. Game can kiss my ass, that's what it can do. And it's gone. Because thankfully we managed to get on top of it, which is its big blind spot. And our orbital strike damage is so high that that's not a big problem. However, the Berserker's Pauldron is not really very useful for us at the moment because the instances of us actually getting the Frenzy going are not going to be very high. I mean, in a case like this, we've got a reasonable amount of junk mobs going around that we could probably pull it off if the game will let us. On the other hand, it doesn't really want to. The stat boosts are nice, and you can definitely see that the desk plant is coming in handy for a situation like this, where we're getting a bunch of healing zones because of all of the trash mobs that we're killing. Unfortunately, I didn't find the thing on this map, so we're not going to the shop, which means we're probably going to be screwed out of a lot of things this run, basically, just in general. Alright. So, can we get the ice map, please? Yes, actually, we did get Rally Point Delta. That's kind of amazing. And speaking of things that are amazing, the game just presented us with one of these. There we go. It's free real estate. It's free real estate. Hey, more bleed. I'll always take that. And I will always take those as well. Alright, shop. We've got... Oh, very funny game. We've got 2 of the backup magazines, which are not very useful for this character, but would have been really nice as Rex. Also, yeah, the imps can cause bleeding regardless of which type of elite they are. Get in the... Oh my god. Holy flying... Jesus fucking bullshit, motherfucker. Oh my god. That was not good. That... Wow, I got bursted really hard in the middle of that fight, and that just ended my entire career. Good fucking lord. Alright, so... I think I can show off a little bit of the Artificer. Again, there is a minor bit of me showing things off here for people who haven't played the game, especially because Bronco mentioned earlier that he was not... he was considering playing the game, but hadn't purchased it yet. Considering purchasing the game, I guess. I'm not trying to imply that he's considering software piracy, although, you know, who knows? And I'm not exactly anti-piracy, so... Yeah. Alright, you can see that this is an issue with the Artificer's hover pack, is that you can't really change your momentum too much while you're hovering. However, the Artificer has very good damage, but not a lot of shots. You can see that our left click is just like the shells from the multi charge based. However, they also don't recharge all at once, which is kind of a problem. So we have ammo for our basic attack, but it's probably the strongest in the game in terms of raw power. Of course, it doesn't matter a whole lot against the stone golem, which is, you know, a chunky bastard. But, you know, they tried. And that big energy ball, that is our right-click move. That does a nice amount of damage. Pretty good AoE. There's an alternate version that's an ice spear, which is even stronger, but is a lot more focused. I switched to a pretty much AoE-oriented build with this character, just for reasons of, you know, being able to clean up. Alright, so with Shift, once again, the Artificer does not have a mobility move, but instead this Ice Wall that freezes enemies if they come into it, and it does a pretty good amount of damage, too. And see, there we go. There's a Shatter Kill. We can do it now, too, now that we have an Ice Attack. And we just got probably the worst item this character could pick up. Because in no way do you ever want to stop moving as the Artificer. And you have, like, no max health whatsoever. So even if you ever did start regenning with the Bustling Fungus, it would be slow as hell and, you know, kind of useless. Right, large chest. Bandolier. That's nice. That's a pretty good thing. Alright, shop. We've got a question mark, a crowbar, which is fantastic for this character due to the damage, and a crit glasses. I mean, the crit glasses are nice, but I think this game needs to stop with the fucking lightning elites, because they are absolutely murdering me. All right, you know what? Let's just rip the band-aid off there. Right, flamethrower. Fuck you, Wisp. Go to hell. Again, this is why we use the explosive shots as the Artificer instead of the fire shots, because yes, the ability to set things on fire is nice, but that's what we have the flamethrower for. I'd rather be able to clean up larger groups of trash mobs quicker, because it's an issue. Tri-tip is a nice addition for the Artificer just due to the flamethrower. Of course, if you have the high jump, it's useless, but then again, if you have the high jump, you're useless. It really, really hinders your damage very badly. It's not like the high jump in Kirby either, where it's just like, hey, you apply this properly, it will break the game. No, 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 no. It feels like it should, and I think the damage number is pretty high, but it doesn't really hash out that way in the long run. And if these wisps could stop knocking me around so much when I'm just trying to float here. And just try to get some cash. Oh, buddy. Shattering Justice. Yes. So this starts up a tick counter when you hit an enemy that goes up to 5. And once you do, you take away a lot of their defense. It is a very, very good item, and with the flamethrower, it will basically apply in just a very short period of time. Yeah, see, look at that. We're not having the greatest time because, of course, we have to deal with the whole charge thing. But we still managed to pull that off. The Shattering Justice charges last for a decent amount of time. And I'm still trying to figure out if I can access the Newt Altar here, because... Okay, yeah, I don't even see it up there. That's one of the places where it usually spawns most often. Wow, the ping really is not working very well. And down there is a place where it usually shows up too, so it's not in that area either. Which means it's on top of those giant arches, which means we can't really get at it right now. However, we've got a pretty great item to start with, so let's get the hell out of here. Let's just move on and cut our losses on that one, or, well, I guess saying cut our losses is not really correct, but You know, let's just get rolling here. Let's try to enter stage 2 not being at, you know, 10 minutes in. Alright, what do we get? Do we get another neural, or are we getting an actual item this time? Well, that was some momentum. And I died. Oh, boy. That's good. I'm so happy with this. Oh, wait, no, the other thing. Wow, that was pretty cheesy. Like, that thing just spawned right on top of me as soon as I came back up. Alright, so let's go into the engineer here. I'm going to do this one real quick. So the engineer is interesting because your turrets get all of your items, no matter which version you use. Either the carbonizer turret, which runs around, or the Gauss auto turret, which just sits in place. Which means that the engineer is probably the best support in the game with that setup, because you can just throw those down and they will take your they'll take your bustling fungus, and basically you have healing points that, as you start stacking those fungus, get pretty strong, and they do damage to enemies, and can often probably be your best fighting force, because the grenades, using them can be a bit of a pain. And ditto for landmines, but of course fighting with landmines on the go is definitely very, very, very tough. So instead, we're going to take the carbonizer turret, and we're going to take the thermal harpoons instead of the shield generator, because we are by ourselves. We don't really need to support anybody else, and having something we can do more stuff with while we're on the run is going to help out quite a bit, especially if we get those stone titans, because they can just punch you out of your shield generator, and you can get gunned down in midair, and that's not fun. And let us see. Let's see if maybe we can get a couple of shops would be nice. Shops in this case meaning the Bazaar Between Worlds map, not the shops where we get regular items. Although it also would be nice to not have our first spawn be a fire beetle and have 2 of them. If the game could, like, just be a little bit politer about that, that would be really cool. Let's set up our turrets, who will start going out there and doing stuff for us. And yeah, we're doing that before we even grab the item. That's a little silly, I know. Alright, and there's our thermal harpoons at work. They recharge pretty slowly, but they do great work in homing in on enemies. They have good damage. They're very good against flying enemies. They are easily our best tool for airborne enemies that are up at even reasonably high. You'll also notice a bit of an issue that the carbonizer turrets tend to just bull rush enemies a little bit. With some items set up, it will improve, because they will not have the part of the AI going, oh yeah, we gotta be as close as possible to get maximum DPS at the expense of safety, but that'll take a bit. They are, however, indeed massively stupid. And that's one of the big downsides of them compared to the Gauss turrets. Other than the fact that the Gauss turrets are, you know, really good supports. Alright, Shrine of Combat, by the way. This is a thing that just spawns enemies, and you don't get a whole lot of benefit specifically for killing them other than the usual experience and gold. But it is a good way to start forcing things to go forward a little bit, and you can get some pretty decent cash out of the deal just by virtue of it crapping out more enemies. And that, if you can take the fight, it's always worth doing those just to get a little extra resources. Of course, later on, you can start spawning bosses inside of the regular timer, or spawning some really powerful elites, or even early on, I think you can end up summoning greater wisps, and that's just the worst. Greater Wisps have always been kind of the most obnoxious enemy in both Risk of Rain games, and in this game, wow, the fact that they fly makes them even worse. Whereas in the original, it would just be like, okay, instead of spawning enemies that you can deal with one by one, which was actually a real strategy in the original game, you just got this one big enemy that absolutely thrashes you. Break open this chest. Can we get some good items here, please? It's pretty solid. Again, armor-piercing rounds, very good when we are multiple sources of damage. Alright, what do you got for me? Can it be, Oh, I'll take a Visions of Heresy on this character, that's for sure. Recharge, please. Also, you can see that it's, like, mounted directly in the middle of the thing, so it's just, like, a big old eyeball. It looks great. I do like what they do with the items dynamically appearing on your character model in these games. It always looks pretty good. I think it's generally a pretty solid idea. Unfortunately, the problem here is that might have been a bad choice with the Carbonizer turrets because they will inherit that as well. However, they should probably be okay. I think we'll come out of this without too much issue. Alright, we can't quite get up there. We would need a double jump or like any mobility move. Once again, the engineer... I feel like I've been demonstrating a lot of the characters who have no mobility-related special whatsoever today. Because, let's see, we had the Rex, which has the back jump, and the Multi has that charge. And then after that, yeah, we really did not, huh? So yeah, there you see the Carbonizer turrets are now no longer using their Death Ray. They are using the Visions of Heresy shots, which are not exactly ideal when they just bull rush every enemy, so I need to get them some gear at some point. That or find some way to get rid of the Visions of Heresy. Despite the fact that they're really good for me, they're not so good for my turrets. So it's definitely a very, very major trade-off there. Said open the garbage can. It's not a garbage can, but that's just the first thing that I think of there is, hey, garbage can. Alright, so we want to go back here. I think this is like just over where we spawned, so it's not going to be over here, but this is one of the places the Newt Altar can spawn is on the ground level. Yeah, because I feel like we would have seen this, or yeah, especially with that shop being there, we would have seen that very much earlier on. If it were a thing. Yeah, I can't even see the... I can't see the Newt Altar up on that, that column up there with the ring. I might not be close enough, but also it doesn't make me think, oh yeah, it's... Because that's not really that subject to draw distance. It's usually fogged. If you wouldn't be able to see it. So it's definitely not up there, but... Oh, wait, did we hit it? Did we hit a thing already? Did we just start with it? Okay, that's good, because you can see that we had the blue orb there, even though I don't remember ever actually hitting the thing, so... Yeah. Yeah, we're in good shape. If we beat this boss, which admittedly is not really the easiest ask in the world... But we managed to get away with it, and we get the Kajero's band as well. That's... Oh, I wanted the other one. So, these items are 2 linked attack bonuses that will activate together and will proc only if you do attacks of a certain level of damage. For example, the thermal harpoons. But they will activate together no matter what if you can activate them. So if we had gotten both, that would have been a huge damage buff. It would have been a lot bigger than having the 2 Kajero's bands, I think. I don't think my word is to be taken, you know, as gospel there, but I do think that that's how it would have panned out. Alright. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Go through the portal. And what do we got on sale? Oh, we've got garbage all around. However, we do have the Spinal Tonic, which is nice. If we have a way to keep it going. This is usually something that you will see people buy with the Jester of the Drowned, which is an item that causes your use item to activate as soon as it's able to, but cuts the cooldown in half. And items like fuel cells or just stacking more shells to keep it continuous. Because I'll pick it up, and we're going to try to avoid using it. Gain a massive boost to all stats, chance to gain an affliction that reduces all stats. Which of course is disabled while you're drunk. But basically what a lot of people like to do is they will build themselves up in such a way that they can have the drink active constantly to avoid a chance of ever getting stacks and for it to not matter even if they did. And that can be quite powerful. Not really so good for the engineer because he's not exactly a character that's that much of a solo powerhouse, and it would not go on to affect the turrets. But with a lot of characters that are really anybody else, like the Mercenary especially is one that I see that built on. It can really increase your damage, your mobility, just everything, and you can become incredibly strong and very hard to kill, and you can really carry a game with that. However, building it up is not always easy because, again, a lot of this is all subject to chance. I didn't even look at what the trades were over there. That was not necessarily very smart, so hopefully this next level we'll see something a little nicer. Can I stop yawning, please? That's not really, that's not great. Especially because I genuinely find this game kind of fun and, like, exciting and stuff to do. But I'm over here just yawning my ass off because my sleep is all messed up lately. Alright, give me that question mark. That's good. That's a gift. Ah! I'm being slowed. I don't want any of it. Alright, so we got just a chest back here. Usually there's more. Well, I guess there's pots, but that doesn't count. Oh, there's a fire beetle. Oh. Thanks a lot, game. And also thanks for the crowbar that's not going to come in handy outside of, like, the mines and one shot of harpoons each. Although, again, if I land with the Kajero's band, that's a pretty decent set of damage. Spend some HP at the Shrine of Blood and we get a little bit of money. Not really commensurate at this point. 100 gold for half of our health. That's not so great. But also we did manage to get some of our fireworks shots off, so that's also very helpful. Shrine of the Mountain over there. Chest. Break it open. Hey. Ooh, a green shop. These do exist, but they're pretty rare. I don't think there's red tier shops out there, but we've got options, and oh, one of them's a Reynolds band. Never mind. All right. Yes, so there's our other band. The other items were a rose buckler, which increases our defense while sprinting, which is moderately helpful. It's not going to really change the game for you too much, but it's a nice little bit of protection while you're getting around places or just trying to escape pursuit. Oh, look, Effigy of Grief. I don't care. And the other item was a Chrono Bauble, which has a guaranteed chance of applying a very short slow when you hit an enemy. So, again, not super strong, but it can be helpful. It's the fact that it's guaranteed is the thing that is, I feel, the big selling point, because, you know, any sort of certain effect there is not exactly going to be very common. You've seen the amount of things in this game that are chance on hit. So something that is guaranteed on hit is very rare and very good. And you know, you can kind of do a little bit of locking an enemy into this status effect. This sort of thing. Which, again, is only so strong, but is still not really something that I would complain too much about. Because, you know, slowing your enemies down that much, that constantly, that's helpful. That lets you clear them out faster because you can just keep them pinned. And meanwhile, our item from the Challenge of the Mountain was 2 razor wires. That's going to cause me to resummon my turrets, so that way they can have those, now that I have 3 razor wires. I didn't even notice that I got another one a while ago. Last night you were playing with a friend, kept dying, and missing out on huge item drops. Jeez. Oh no. Oh no. That's the worst. I've been in that position many times where it's just like, oh, well, we're looping the game this hard, but I'm over here with, like, level 3 or 4 caliber of inventory because I just keep getting wrecked because of one-shot protection basically being a lie. Because so many things count as multiple hits in this game. Let's have a quick look at what do we got for us in the shop. It's all garbage, and it's all garbage that I've told people about. Oh, this is interesting. We can go to the Gold Coast. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, wow. That's a lot of items. It sounds like you were looping quite a bit as well, too. Just... wow. Oh, you didn't loop at all? You just had that level of... big item drops, I guess, huh? Oh, hey, we're starting with a Colossus spawn here, so let's pop these out. Oh yeah, that will definitely... That will have an effect for sure. Especially because I feel like with mountain shrines, if you get boss items, you tend to get a lot of them. Died to Mithrix, landing on him from the jump move. Oh, ouch. Let's see if I can remember where the chests are here in Gold Coast. Although, the timer is frozen, so at least we don't have to worry about that. Getting armor-piercing rounds, that'll be helpful for this because there's a boss here. Once we farm up enough money and get all these chests. Well, good job. And again, I guess if he was dead, then... Oh, good. I'm on the wrong build for that to be useful. If he was dead, Mithrix wouldn't have stolen his items, right? So, Mithrix would have at least been easier in that phase. A war banner, alright, well... I guess we got the one that we want. It's as many war banners as we will need, and I'm sure that we'll get a bunch more as a result of me saying that. The game will just be like, oh, you want these? Slow your roll, buddy. Slow your roll. That's always good, the capacitor. Unfortunately, I haven't seen one of those in a bit, outside of... Well, you know, using the command artifact, I don't think that counts. Because then you're just sort of walking around the RNG. And so I'm going to start things off by buying 2 of these beacons. Because what we have to do here... For those of you who have never seen this, which I'm sure is not really a thing if there's people out here who are... Unless there's people here who are watching this who have never played this game, by now everybody has seen how Gold Coast works, and there is one of these chuckleheads here. That's exactly what I want to see, and especially with me trying to jump over its attacks as it blasts me in the face. At the very least, I appear to not have taken the full salvo because I'm not dead. So anyway, back to what I was saying. For those who have not seen this, just on the off chance that there's anybody here who hasn't, who has played this game. Once we purchase enough of those pylons, that will summon the boss of this area, Aurelianite. However, Aurelianite will be invincible until we have spent enough money to purchase all of them. And then Aurelianite will have a decent chunk of HP that we will have to remove. Oh, you're not going to come out at 3? I thought it was 3. Or is there another one that I haven't seen here? It's 4. Okay, I thought it was 3. Maybe it was 3 and was changed at one point. I don't remember. Alright, so we've managed to get through Aurelianite's invincibility, and we still got hit with some swords. That's unfortunate, but I'm more worried about the tractor beam. Fuck. Get off me, and I popped my tonic, but as we will be leaving the level before it expires naturally, we will not acquire a tonic affliction stack, so that ultimately, was... So here's the thing. I started pronouncing sword wrong because one of my friends, like, really doesn't like it when I do it. Not in a serious manner, obviously. Like, I'm not intentionally pissing someone off that much. They take it as a joke. Unfortunately, I've reached a point where I can't stop. As a result, because that's like all I do at this point, apparently, is just meme on this one person, and it completely ruins my ability to speak properly. It's always good when you reach that point, right? That's totally not an indication that you should never use the internet ever again, right? Unfortunate. Have a great day. Yeah, pretty much. That's basically it. Well, I've ruined my ability to speak English properly forever. Welp. Oh, I just heard I guess something crashed, but I didn't see the notification, so that's comforting. I'm still live. Okay, well that's good. So it wasn't anything too big, and I can see from OBS that my audio hasn't died in either of those ways. So I guess we'll just have to take that as, oh, the computer's acting funny again. Oh no, our computer is drunk. Oh no. Also, I've been doing this without my turrets for a little bit. And that is a strange thing. But there we go. You two go ahead and have fun while I go wander around in search of items. And by have fun, I mean, judging by this map, I assume they're going to dive off of the map at some point. Oh god! Why are you here? Other than the fact that they can spawn no matter what the timer is on this level, because somebody at Hopu Games is just fucking evil. Also, yes, I realized that I probably completely missed that nerd earlier. Like, probably the Clay Gunner was in my purview and I just ignored it. Do I have any advice for prismatic trials? Not off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've even touched that feature. Harvester Scythe, that's nice. Just need the item unlocked for it. I figured. I don't really... Again, it's been far too long for me to weigh in on that one. Don't fall off of the thing. Alright, so here comes the slightly embarrassing part where I'm not 100% sure where all of the locations are on this map for the Newt altar, because I don't come out here very often. I usually take the other map just because I know my way around it very easily. This was added later into the development, so you know, that's less time to acquire the... less time to pick that up mentally, and everything is very spread out, so it's a little more confusing than the ice map. Which is like, how often, if you're given a choice, do you specifically choose the ice level, right? Oh, I see the turrets are having some problems. Excellent. That's fair enough, because... yeah, the prototypes spawn there, like, always-ish. Or close to always. Very often, at any rate. Ooh, equipment shop. That is... I'll take a backup. And we are getting quite a few fireworks here, which is okay. I mean, they're not usually the item that I would choose out of a shop most of the time, but they're very nice to pick up out of chests. And they provide a nice bit of covering fire at the beginning of a teleport, so that is by itself a pretty handy feature. I'm checking around here to make sure. Over here. Otherwise, we're going to be throwing this out completely to luck, basically, if we get Siren's Call as our 4th map, which is what I would like to get, so that way I can fight the Giant Eyeball. I feel fairly confident in my ability to fight the Giant Eyeball. That I don't remember the name of. Alloy Worship Unit? I think that's what it is, Alloy Worship Unit. Yeah, it's the Alloy Worship Unit. And as I mentioned earlier, although we haven't had a chance to see it yet, that thing will always drop a red item for you once you kill it. And we got another Lepton Daisy. That's... I could do with something a bit stronger, mostly just because, well, at the bare minimum, we're getting it like right about now, so it's going to come into effect fairly quickly. Alright, Grove Tender, and we've got our Aurelianite for backup here. Grove Tender, would you like to cough up your boss-specific item after getting absolutely annihilated? Unfortunately, the answer to that is no, and we get our 4th Razor Wire of the game. So, at bare minimum, our turrets, when they get slapped around, because they will, they are not necessarily very smart, they do sort of bull rush enemies quite a bit, will do damage in a pretty good area of effect. So, we got that going for us. There's a shop over there. I can't quite see what all is in there. Yes, please target the turrets. The Clay Templars really suck, but thankfully sometimes they'll do things like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna target this turret that's just walking up to me. Alright, so before we leave, let's go check out that shop and see if anything in there is useful. Well, those bullets would have been handy earlier, that's for sure. Question mark, cautious slug, and armor-piercing rounds. I will take my chance on the question mark. The topaz brooch, that's pretty handy. We didn't have one of those, so that's good at least. You know, we see a bunch of them, but I usually just pass them up because they pop up so commonly. As the 2 little walking turrets are just sort of stuck in the thing there. Good work. Good work, folks. You're really, I'd say making me proud, but not quite. That's not true at all. Alright, Magma Caves. We get us a free item that we have to grind out, basically, here for the Abyssal Depths. This is a good map to come to on 1 player. That can usually have some pretty good results. Because although the equipment drones are not like the most hyper aggressive with the equipment they use, the backup they will tend to use pretty smartly and will again be able to provide a lot of covering fire, a lot more targets for enemies to go after, so overall, that is usually a pretty solid choice, and that jerk just portaled in on top of me. What a complete and utter distended anus. Can you get off of the map, please? I would like your lunch money, Imp Overlord. There we go. That got us there. Stealth kit. That's not what we're looking for, but it's okay. And another fungus, which is, well, if my turrets would prefer to continue getting trapped in places, then that's going to end up probably doing quite a bit for me, but we'll see how that pans out in the long run once again. Medkit, not quite the right character to be thinking of those as a major concern, but it's okay. I think the healing is like 25 total for a single medkit, so that's okay. Again, getting to a place where that's small, but it'll do. Plus, if we're in stealth mode... So, the invisibility from the stealth kit is not the most effective thing in the game, I've noticed. It can be very, very not good at hiding you. However, you do get a significant speed buff. And, oh hey, we got ice lizards again, because, you know, you can never have enough ice lemurians, right? They are not really a danger, but they are very good at hitting you, so one of them can just snipe you halfway across the map almost, and hey, you're slowed in the middle of an important fight. I'll take another Reynolds band. Again, getting good damage at the start of those harpoon salvos. Couldn't remember what the term the game used for it was for a second, but it's harpoon, not missile. I want to say that they're referred to as missiles in the original Risk of Rain, but I haven't played that in a very long time. Alright, 3,200, close to the 3,300 actually, is the goal we have to shoot for, but we also have to remember that there's everything else that we have to pick up on this map too, and getting that stuff first is going to end up being more important in the long run. And for this, we're going to pick up one of these. Because, if I recall correctly, the way critical hit rate stacking works is that no Harvester Scythe past the first gives you anything extra, and it's only 5% for that one. Meanwhile, with Predatory Instincts, it's another 5%, and for each one afterwards, it's an additional 2%, which, okay, I guess if we end up getting that many, that's nice, but we probably won't. Still good to know in case we do. Right, chest. Get another sticky bomb. It's not really super important, but alright. Okay, adaptive chest. Let's see if we can get something out of this. That'll do! There's our mobility. We can actually kind of get around right now. We have decent speed, even from just the one goat hoof, because the engineer has like the same-ish base speed as most characters. There's a couple of characters that I'm sure folks have noticed by now go a lot slower. Like the Rex is not very fast. And the multi isn't very fast unless you're using that dash move. Engineer has like regular speed, so one goat hoof is a great start. And the double jump will give us just a lot. Oh ho ho, yes. I will take that royal capacitor. Oh, yes. Something's over there, and I don't think it is anymore. Yeah, judging by the experience and money that just went to me. Whatever that enemy was, it is off of the map. And I'm happy about that. Block box. Soda can. Hey! There we go. Some more move speed. And there we get a good look at one of the really big advantages of the Royal Capacitor, and that is the fact that it has a very short cooldown, only 20 seconds. Well, it's a little closer to 21, but, 20 seconds. Which makes it really good for, well, just really good in general. Fuck! Damn it! Oh! I saw that Ceremonial Dagger and I reacted too slow. I thought for a second it was orange. Yeah, absolutely. It does just a huge amount of damage, plus everything else. Oh, I'm sad about that Ceremonial Dagger. That would have been amazing to have. The sheer combo potential from that thing is just absolutely off the charts. To remove that enemy from the world, what do we have in this green shop? We have items that are not super relevant to us, but the band is still a good get. Oh, fuck off. I didn't want to see these bastards. Especially not... Oh, there was one behind me, too. Really? I was hoping for, like, a gold... Stone Titan, rather. Or even the bells would have been fine. But Elder Lemurians are literally probably the worst thing I could have rolled here. Even Greater Wisps would have been better, even though they're, like, the absolute worst. That's a brittle crone. I don't really want that right now. Oh, those things are really nasty, the fire bells, because when they hit you, yeah, you're dead. There's just no two ways about it. You take just so much damage from those, and those are... Oh fuck! I've picked up enough items and stuff that it's not in our log. I think it was 33k that we needed. Well, it was that or 36, and we've broken 36, so we can probably go get that once I remember how to navigate this level. There we go. Yeah, it was 33. All right. Good. Hardlight Afterburner. That's only giving us 6 harpoons, but 6 harpoons is still pretty nice, and they will refresh faster. So our ability to nuke is really going places here. And I think we've got everything of note outside of a couple of drones and the Shrines of Chance. However, I haven't really checked the higher levels here, so let's... Well, no, I've seen some of it, clearly, but... Let's take a general look around here and make sure that I didn't miss anything too huge. Oh, hi, Rex. Oh, hi. I guess I can't say, oh, hi, Mock, in here right now, right? Da-da-da-da-da. Oops. See, I bet you get that a lot because I know that you are a shit poster and you hang out with a bunch of other shit posters. And the room is kind of timeless in its... Especially in terms of being, you know, shit posty. So I'm sure a lot of people just do that and probably are getting sick of it by this point too. Oh, of course. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like what I know from your circle of people. Alright, rockets, do your business here. For this? Yes, but we didn't get anything out of it. Oh. I'm going to come back for those 2 Shrines of Chance, because at the rate things are going, what's probably going to end up happening if I stick around is I'm either going to run the clock up a little too much and make the next level absolutely miserable for myself, as if it won't already be a bit of a challenge. Or instead of getting regular enemies, I'll get something that will show up and just burst me down. And I don't want to end this run just yet. This is going really good. Alright, so we got some Stone Titans that just evaporated. Oh, nice. Nice, 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 nice. That is tremendous. For anyone who's like, Strimmer, why aren't you using your harpoons? It's because I'm not good at video games, basically. Alright, send some of those out, and scan the area. Anything hanging out there? Well, Aurelia Knight timed out. We do have a shop to go to, so at least there's that. We can hopefully get some nice trades. I'd love to see a Ceremonial Dagger in the bazaar, because that'll make up for the one that I fucked away earlier here. God damn it! I'm going to the other one. We'll come back to that one if we have money afterwards. Hey, another landmine. That's useful. Wish they charged a little faster, but they're pretty strong as it is, so yeah. I think they used to charge faster in earlier versions of the game, but it's been a while since I've played those, obviously, so. And I guess we're leaving without getting that last item, because of course we are. There's not going to be that much cash left out here in terms of enemies. Let's take another one of these because we're already starting on that, and these trades are not useful for me, so I'm going to skip on that. That's a shame. Let's just move on. Alright, so here we are in our second to last level of the game. This is the furthest we've been all night. I've been having a pretty cruddy time with a lot of stuff here, but this run seems to be going pretty good. We stand a chance of completing this one. Or at least getting to Mithrix and accidentally getting hit by the hammer. Oh, that's nice. A ukulele. That will give us some very good ability to clear crowds when it goes off. Open the chest. Gorst Tome. It's got its uses. Stun grenade. Oh, we had one of those already, so meh. As I mentioned before, the increased chance on the stun grenades is very, very low. Like, to start with, it's only 5%, and it's diminishing returns. So it is kind of useless to stack those, almost. Not completely, but it feels close enough. So our teleporter is right over there. I don't know how to ping things properly, pretty much. Hey, some more blast radius. No item, but we managed to get some covering fire going because we just have that many fireworks at this point. So we probably got repaid from that, hopefully. And unfortunately, there's all the fireworks crashing into the ground when trying to go after the Solace control units. That sucks. Oh, oof. That is very unfortunate. I am sorry to hear that, Mark. Fuck, I don't want to be at 1 HP. Obviously. Alright, we're at 5 bundles of fireworks. It's a lot of damage that we get whenever we activate anything. Unfortunately, we just took a ball to the face, so that ended our run a little prematurely there. Oh. Oh, that's even worse. What terrible timing for that. That's very unfortunate. I hope that they can be resolved reasonably soon, Mark, but then again, it's like 9:45 over here, which... Yeah, so it's gonna be about 4, maybe 5 in the morning, so... 5 a.m. in the Netherlands. Right. GMT +1. I can't always keep that stuff perfectly together. I'm not good at time zones, and apparently I'm not so good at this game because I got hit by something that ordinarily I wouldn't. Don't go in the air around the bells, otherwise you get murdered. Anyway, that said, I think I'm going to just call it here for the evening. It has been it's been pretty fun. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you all next time.